Hello there, my name is Aiden Mo, and welcome to the second part of my research where we're attempting to answer the question, what important factors influence visitor demand and behavior in San Bruno downtown? In the last video, we covered quantitative information that suggested several factors that allowed increased foot traffic as well as prevented or decreased foot traffic. If you haven't seen this video and would like to see it for more context behind this study, feel free to check it out via the link in the description. In this video, we'll be covering the qualitative information portion through interviewing the president of San Bruno's improvement group, Sadana Traxler, with a series of questions that'll introduce the improvement group's role towards San Bruno downtown revitalization, bring out the latest patterns or trends influencing foot traffic, and exploring them more in depth. Hope you guys enjoy it.
So, Sadana, would you like to tell us about your organization and its purpose in downtown San Bruno?
Yes. Hi, my name is Sadana Traxler. I am the president of the San Bruno Improvement Group. We formally organized the San Bruno Improvement Group because we wanted to create more awareness for our downtown, for the merchants. Also, we wanted to focus on bringing more events to our downtown, as well as slowly initiating some beautification efforts to also sort of have another way of attracting newcomers, businesses, community residents to downtown. At the core, the improvement group is made up of local business owners, just a handful of us who wanted to do our part and being the change that we wanted to see for our downtown. So we're not just outsiders, we are at ground zero. So we see everything that's happening, how things move, where improvements can be made, and then, some of the challenges that come with that.
What was the initial motivation that got you to launch this revitalization project to create the San Bruno Improvement Group in the beginning?
As a business owner, initially it kind of came out of frustration, I guess. And for a long time, it felt like downtown San Bruno was being overlooked. Businesses were struggling, foot traffic was inconsistent, and there wasn't a sense of a strong identity. Instead of continuing to wait for the change, we decided to, become the change, right? So we decided to kind of just host our own events. And they were small community events, they weren't anything big, but they've gradually started growing. And people are now looking forward to our events. So we started hosting, the Easter event, the trick-or-treat event, and those things caught on and it kind of grew and grew. I think more merchants wanted to get involved. There was definitely a want for that connection because I found that when I would go around and talk to each business owner, they were more than willing to participate. They were excited about the events because we hadn't really had anything like that. So there was definitely, some energy there and some need for something like this. So we formally organized as a San Bruno Improvement Group, became a 501c3 so that we can, apply for grants to help fund our events, accept donations for, our mural project. So it just became a little bit more, I guess, what's the word? More real. I'm creating the organization. To be honest, I didn't quite know what I was getting into, starting the nonprofit and the whole nonprofit sector. So I've learned a lot. Our group has learned a lot about the logistics and the policies within our own organization and how that how we can better work with the city and other businesses so that the impact is bigger. It opens more doors for us too. So the motivation behind it was really just wanting more for our downtown, and believing that, our community deserved more attention, more awareness. San Bruno is kind of a hidden gem, as people say. We're one of the closest cities to an international airport. We have El Camino Real, we have the Caltrain station. So we're a very unique demographically, to where we are to all these important modes of transit and how people can get to San Bruno. I just think we need to do more to revitalize it. And I guess I hope also that our efforts will inspire the city to do more on their part, and to help, revitalize downtown. So we're hoping it inspires more people to get involved as well.
Could you maybe expand on how this process goes and how you generate enough money and budget enough money to contribute towards these events?
Well, initially we didn't really have any money, which is why we organized and got our paperwork in order. Before, we were, as small merchants, we were coming together and funding the projects on our own. But before Centennial Plaza got remodeled into what it is today, you didn't really have to pay to host events there. But then again, it wasn't really a space that could be utilized for events. So we just made the best of what we had to work with. So we were on a tight budget, but somehow, we made it happen. And I think now the merchants, our organization, since we're able to apply for some grants and things like that, we were able to get a grant from the San Bruno Community Foundation for $10,000 to host our events, and every penny went right back into our community events and funding. But yes, we need to continue fundraising. We've sold t-shirts. So we've worked with a couple of artists to create San Bruno t-shirts for us that we sold. That was one way we fundraise and continue to fundraise to sell San Bruno merchandise. Donations, kindness of people's heart, just donating to our website, and just believing in what we're doing. So a lot of it is sort of small businesses helping us out by contributing financially. Everybody's really helpful because I think we all have the same common goal, right? We all want to see a successful event for our downtown. So we've been very blessed to have really nice neighbors and community members who contribute financially, whether it's financially or their time and energy. So it's been fun also getting to know everybody in that way, and building those relationships too.
So you did discuss before some projects like the mural project. There's one you're doing right now that's monthly, first Thursdays, and other projects like that. What would you say would be the struggles that you face within these kind of projects, and then the strengths?
I think some of the struggle is really trying to delegate certain tasks. I think sometimes people don't see all the work that goes into creating these events. And to top it off, we're all business owners, so we have our own businesses to sort of try to maintain and run, as well as personal lives and things like that. But so I think the biggest challenge is probably trying to coordinate and get volunteers to sort of help out with particular tasks, some of the logistics of things, but we've done it enough where we kind of have a template, right? So it gets easier and easier every year for us. But initially, it was kind of trying to, juggle 10 different tasks at once. Now we have a couple of more, community members who have joined our group and have definitely stepped up and taken a load off. So I just feel like maybe the most challenging is finding people who, have the time, not people, I should say finding the time to do it all is the most challenging, particularly as business owners.
I guess like in general, the
Mhm.
events that the focus is to bring more people and visitors to downtown over time. So has there been any other output or any other like effect that besides just bringing people to downtown?
I think yes, having the events, we hope that it brings more foot traffic and awareness to downtown San Bruno. But a lot of it is also celebrating what's there now, the people that are there now, and giving the community something, the San Bruno community, something to do in downtown. So it's both. It's wanting to bring people downtown, but that's not the new people to downtown. But that wasn't like the initial reason we started the events. It was wanting to give the residents and the community that are there now something to look forward to.
Um, Going to our next question. This is going to be more about just San Bruno downtown,
Mhm.
but I how long have you worked in San Bruno downtown? Like for a long
We've
time,
been
right?
there for 10 years. We've been in business for 10 years.
So like during that entire like 10-year span, would you say that you noticed or observed a certain trend that attracted visitors to downtown? Or was it just mostly just events that attracted people downtown? Was it the diverse amenities of businesses?
We're still working on that, Aiden. We're still working on that. Like, I feel like the events do bring people downtown, but they don't necessarily stay downtown. And that's what we're trying to figure out is how do we get the people to stay, linger, leisurely just walk around downtown and want it to be a space that they want to come through, to come to, and not necessarily just, to sort of pass through.
Hmm.
So we're still trying to figure out ways to get people there. And I think a lot of that has to do with some of the beautification efforts. That's more city level. That's the trees, that's sidewalks, that's lighting, that's benches. I think improving those things along San Mateo Ave um, can definitely help draw new businesses downtown and attract people to want to come and hang out in downtown. I think it's also the businesses, the restaurants. They have their loyal following. The locals, have their favorite sandwich shop or coffee shop. Those are things I think that attract people downtown. Each individual business. Could we have more? Yes, yes. Do the events help bring people downtown? Yes, I think with the right marketing, the collaboration between the city and the merchants and community members, these events have the potential to grow and invite more people downtown. And again, like I said, the goal is to how do we get them to stay downtown and hang out in downtown? once they're there. You can bring them, you have the events, they come. But often we find after the event's over, everybody kind of just leaves the avenue. So I think there's a few vacancies, maybe having new businesses that bring maybe a new energy. We can all, as business owners now, benefit from and attracting new exciting businesses to come in, bringing, their following. That could be
Mhm.
one way we can bring and have more people come downtown and want to, stay downtown and visit maybe the other shops.
Now that we discussed what draws people to downtown, what do you think deflects people from downtown? Like not make them want to come?
I think not having enough variation of businesses. I think the lack of sort of aesthetics. And then I think that the types of businesses, we need more restaurants, and we need more retail, entertainment spaces.
Do you think like maybe price is a factor? It, all the businesses of how they charge their services or food or items. Do you think that's what also is a factor that maybe unmotivates visitors from coming?
I mean, as far as like their price points.
Hmm.
No, I think that there's not a lot of options. We need more businesses downtown. It feels like if you don't have an appointment or a membership, there's really not a lot of options for retail. We do have a lot of options for restaurants. I think our restaurant scene, the food scene in downtown is really strong. We have a very diverse range of food options in San Bruno. But I think as far as like retail shopping, I think that that's something that people kind of, like to do. I think if we can find more businesses to come in and open up, boutiques and shops like that, it might attract more people, more cafes, more food. These are the types of businesses I think that attract visitors.
Is there, I did see, as I'm walking downtown, there is a couple of vacant business like spaces, right? So if only some of
Mhm.
like maybe the cafes that you mentioned could be take place there, that could potentially attract even more customers, you think?
Yeah, I think less vacancies, and new and exciting businesses. We do have some pending businesses coming in. I think there's like one, maybe four, three or four. So we're just waiting on them to open up, and we're hoping soon we'll have, more food options, and we'll attract, I believe, some new foot traffic.
I also wanted to ask too, do you think like uh parking had a play in this? Because I remember you talking about how people didn't really like the parking fee requirement, or some people did like it, that there was some sort of controversy within there. So do you think that had any involvement in having people feel less motivated to come as well?
I think it came as a shock to the residents and some of the merchants having the parking program implemented. The rollout could have been better. I think having a parking program in place should be part of the solution, and it shouldn't come at a cost of discouraging the very foot traffic that we're trying to build downtown. If people aren't coming, then nobody benefits, not the businesses, not the community, not the city. So I think the conversation should be, how do we make parking work for downtown, not against, whether that's a parking program and any revenue generated from the parking program goes into particular account, I believe it's called the Enterprise Fund, or it's not necessarily redirected back into the metered area. So I think that could be one way to maybe motivate or encourage people to sort of look at the parking program with a different perspective. If that was the case, I don't believe it is though. But that would be nice to see something that maybe one of the council members could agendize and getting the funds redistributed back into the downtown area to beautify it. But I think having a program, it's tricky. It's not a one size fits all. You got to kind of feel out the community, what's working, what's not working for the merchants and the residents. It's a small city. There's not a lot of space to park. So, the residents spill over into the avenue and then the business owners spill into the residents. So perhaps building a parking structure is something that the city could look into to sort of alleviate that problem. But I think having the turnover is important for a business owner. With no sort of enforcement. Sometimes cars would park in the front on the main avenue, San Mateo Avenue, and they would park there for 2, 3, 4 days. Our customers then sort of have to circle around to try to find parking. Some of our customers are seniors, so if they do have to park far, they'll come into the shop a little bit out of breath, wanting to have a seat, which goes back into the benches outside. If there was benches, that would be, a senior friendly. I believe they adopted some sort of proclamation. Don't quote me on this, making it sort of like a senior friendly city. You'll have to look that up. But sometimes when they come in, they'll be out of breath. So we put a chair for people to sit down. But that's just something we see as business owners that maybe not everybody sees. Okay. So now when our customers come in, they're able when our customers come to visit, they're able to find parking in front and they get excited about that. And those are the little things that we see where the program is working. And we do hear some good feedback, but we also know, there's the challenging sides of it, with people having to pay, the kiosk not working properly. I believe the city is slowly working on fine-tuning all those things and trying to make it more user-friendly, creating the app or, working with the app, the mobile park app to make it easier to store your information so that when you do come down, all your information is saved, so it's a little bit quicker. So there's two sides of it, but I think most importantly for us as business owners, it's helped create turnover, and that's good for business. We are, down the business corridor there, so it's important to have that turnover. But there's definitely things that can be fine-tuned to make it definitely a lot easier for the user.
So you did mention that there was don't quote you on this. I'll research it later too. That there was seniors, like a lot of seniors who come by to downtown. So do you think that this is a big part of the demographics of visitors that come to downtown, or do you think there is other groups of demographics that come down, and who could they be?
I think there's a lot of, older generation who come downtown. It's the residents who, are born and raised there. But I think depending on like what new businesses come in as well helps contribute to different age groups coming and visiting.
I know that there's a society like up in the downtown, and I think that attracts a lot of the youth, right?
Yes.
So do you think there's any other businesses down there that attracts the youth, or that's just the number one?
I would say I've definitely seen a lot more foot traffic with the younger adults when society came in, Aqua Club, a couple of the businesses that I've personally seen that attract the younger group of people. I mean, we have the dojos, right? We have the gyms.
Mhm.
La Petite Baleine, the swim school, and the tutu school. So it depends on hours of operation and who's signing up and things like that. But yeah, I don't think there are many. I mean, our age group for Twice as Nice, it depends. We kind of attract an older, more mature crowd, but we do have the young generation coming in. They're like family restaurants, so that brings in like families. Like Isla brings in groups of families at once, because I think it's family style. So often they're there maybe on Sunday and have lunch, and then they'll make their way down and they'll come into our store. And so it just depends. The Avenue definitely wakes up about 3 o'clock, because that's when the kids get out of school. And that's usually when the sort of the dojos and the swim schools and the tutu school open up, because the kids are out of school now. So then that brings some foot traffic down.
That's pretty much all the questions I have. Is there any like additional insight you would like to share or put out there?
I think that it's important for, especially the youth, students your age, to sort of see opportunities and not ever feel like it's something that they can't take on or challenge. So I would encourage people to not be afraid to step outside their comfort zone. And closing line, I would say that, downtown San Bruno isn't defined by one project or one event. It's built over time through consistency, collaboration, and community. And I think we're finally moving in the right direction. And I hope that inspires more youth and students of your generation to keep pushing forward and believing in themselves and being the change as well.